We had a question submitted about the decriminalization or the use of cannabis. That is a big healthcare issue these days. So Beth, I'll let you take the first shot at that question.
Sure, thank you. Well, I'm asked that question when I'm out campaigning by people. A lot of people do qualify and do have the medicinal marijuana cards, cannabis cards, but unfortunately they don't have access to the cannabis because of the structure in the state right now. We have hemp farms, but cannabis farms are not readily available. There's not an access point. I have my aunt adopted a beautiful child several years ago, and he has seizures, and they have a major issue trying to get access to cannabis that has been prescribed by his doctor and that they have a medical cannabis card to receive. So I feel like we need to address that issue. If we made something legal, then the state legislature opened the way. We need to do a study to find out why there's not accessibility to something that we legalized. We know there's a need. So what in the marketplace is not attracting someone to fill that service? It seems like, there'd be a service to fill, there'd be a business to be had. So why that has not existed at this point? And then the access point, if it's not available in our state, how do we get it to our state legally? I know there are people who unfortunately have had to go other routes because they needed the cannabis, either in THC or other forms. And so I feel like we need to figure out what we can do to make that possible. And I've had people ask, are you for just generally legalizing it? Well, that's a complicated thing. Right now in Georgia, if we did that, it's going to be taxed. Let's just face facts. The state legislature typically taxes things like that. We tax tobacco, we tax alcohol. I'm assuming it wouldn't be taxed if used medicinally, but recreationally, I'm sure it would be. So, I think there's some complexities that we as a state need to discuss. How are we going to handle, first and foremost, before we worry about anything else, how are we going to get those who have medical needs met?
Okay, thank you. Chris?
Okay. I don't think this is a very complicated issue at all. The state of Georgia needs to follow other states that have completely ended cannabis prohibition. What are the benefits, right? First, criminal justice reform. We're going to stop locking people up for cannabis. There's no point in it. It's the whole history of locking people up for cannabis is based in racism and classism, and it's an idea whose time should have never came, but it's certainly passed. And then what does Georgia gain from ending cannabis prohibition? Well, let's start with jobs. And Colorado added 30,000 great paying middle class jobs the first year they ended cannabis prohibition. We're going to do that here. What else do you gain? You stop the rat race of people who need it medicinally from being able to gain it. I have friends, Beth and I have a mutual friend, Angel, whose son has seizures, and she's begging for help. She's begging, right? And people are like, well, we'll see what we can do about getting help. No, end the prohibition. Let these folks have access to the cannabis they need medicinally. Veterans use it for PTSD. My wife has access to the card for the low THC oil for chronic pain. And all of these folks that have these issues that need it medicinally could have it, right? There would be no more hoops to jump through. People that use it socially. If you choose to use cannabis socially, I don't. Other people's may want to. That's their choice. In fact, they're denied that choice because people, want to sit in the state house and say, well, this should stay illegal. It's just wrong.
Come together right now over me.